Hi there, Vee Gang, it's a girl Vee and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time coming through to my channel, I'd like to say thank you so much for coming through. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment. And if you're a regular subby, welcome back. So as you can tell from the title of this video, today we're going to be talking about how you can get an 8.5 on your IELTS listening examination. If you're interested in something like this, stay tuned for more. I'll be right back. Subscribe. We spoke about this before in my previous videos. IELTS exams are scored via bands. So 8.5 is an 8.5 band out of 9.0. It's broken down to listening exam, writing exam, reading exam, and speaking exam. The listening mojo is the same in the academic IELTS or in the general IELTS examination. It is about 35 minutes long. It's broken down to sections. The first section of it is a general conversation, approximately about 5 minutes long, in which you have to answer 10 questions. It could be an interview with a student about the student's well-being, a conversation on the telephone, either you're buying tickets. Section 2 is a general talk. It is also approximately 5 minutes long and you have to answer about 10 questions. A radio conversation, a radio program about history, a short conversation or a short story about eating healthy, a presentation about student services. It is very general and slightly random. Section 3 is an academic section where we have an academic conversation. It is also approximately 5 minutes long and you have to answer about 10 questions. It could be a discussion between students about a project, about an essay, about a test, about an exam, a teacher having a conversation with a student about something academic, or two students who are discussing homework. Section 4 is the academic lecture. It is also about 5 minutes long and you have 10 questions to answer. It can be a lecture about history, a photography lecture, directions, a lecture on animal behavior. You don't need any prior knowledge about these topics. The information given to you during this conversation is all you need to answer the questions. After listening, you have about 10 minutes in order for you to fill in these 40 questions. There is an answer sheet and then there is the exam paper. So whilst you're listening, it's important for you to be jotting down possible answers on the question paper. So if you want to pass your IELTS, you need to stop looking for tips and hacks. It's just important for you to look at the books and the material first before you look for tips and hacks. That's the only way you can actually know what to expect from the exam. Don't expect this conversation we're having to be enough. Just look for the books, look for the application. When you do apply for the examination, they give you access to an application where they have an example of exams, listening conversations. That is not what will come in the exam, but it gives you an idea of what to expect from the exam. You need to learn to listen actively. You also have to have a strategy as to how you're going to tackle this listening exam. My trick was that I made sure that every time whilst the conversation was going through, when there was a moment of pause, I would read the questions, like maybe the first 5 questions that are being asked, because as you listen, you answer, you listen and answer, you listen and answer. So as you're going along the listening, I would browse through briefly to see what the question is asking for, so that when I'm listening, I'm actively listening to get the answer that I should fill in onto the answering sheet. Sometimes you have to summarize what is being spoken about, so you also need a strategy as to how you're going to do that. Whilst the conversation is going, jot down the key points as to what people, let's say it's a conversation, what are the key points about this conversation, so that if you have to summarize what exactly is going on in this conversation, you have the key point. I spoke about my form filling strategy. I will start off answering the questions on the question paper and then I will move answers onto the answering sheet when they give us a little break at the end of the exam to fill in the answers. Same thing with labeling and mapping. I need to actively listen to what is being said. If they are going to be giving directions and I have to identify their direction or identify where the store is, I need to actively listen to the directions. Where is my right hand? Where is my left hand? Where is straight ahead? If they're giving directions and it's a map, I need to be, while she's talking, I am moving on the question paper, trying to navigate and find where the hospital is, the bank is. I need to actively listen. Past papers are always your friend. Make sure you utilize opportunities where you can practice listening exam. When you go back revising your work, try and be precise. You also need to enjoy it and focus. There's no point in straining your ears and trying to actively listen and you know what I mean? Just be calm, be relaxed. You've got this. You can understand English. English is difficult, yes, but it is not that hard. The conversations are very easy. They're not using big words. They are not going to be using complicated things that you cannot spell. It is, however, about grammar. How you use your grammar and how you spell, it could make you lose marks. So just make sure you know how to spell specific things. You need to know the tests, as in what is expected of you and how it is most likely going to come about. And remember, you only listen once, so be very careful when you're listening in the listening exam. To get an 8.5 out of 9.0, you need to get 37 out of 40. Spell words correctly, and then you need to write only the number of words that are expected of you. If they say fill in with only 2 words, fill in with only 2 words. Don't write 5 words in trying to be smart. That doesn't give you any extra points. It rather frustrates the examiner. So if they say answer with 2 words, with 5 words, do exactly what you're being asked to do. Improving your listening skills should be the top priority of what you are preparing for and how you're preparing. So make it a point to be listening to podcasts, to be listening to YouTube videos, to be listening to people who have adequate information and adequate English. Yeah. And be listening to their conversations or listening to someone who's talking about something attentively, and just practice listening. You also need to understand the situation and not lose focus whilst the conversation is taking place. So if they're going to be talking about a conversation about catching the train, they may speak about there's a bus at 8 o'clock and then the bus is going to leave at 8:50, but if you come earlier you can catch the 6 o'clock bus. There may be so many numbers and times involved, like 8 o'clock, 8:50, 6 o'clock, but listen to what the question is asking. When you look at the question paper, right, and it asks what time does John have to leave in order for him to get to London, the conversation may start off with, oh, you know, if you want to get to Oxford, you may need to catch the 8 o'clock bus, but in the event that you want to leave to get to London, you need to take an earlier bus, so that if you take the 6 o'clock bus, you'll be there at 9 o'clock. So the key word here is, if John wants to get to London on time, what time should he catch, you know, the bus? And that's 6 o'clock, because 6 o'clock is the early bus that will get him to London on time. If he catches the 8:50 bus, he will be late. You get? So they may speak of a lot of times, but attentively listen to what is being said and also look at the question, what is being asked. It is also all about vocabulary. Just improve your vocabulary, read the dictionary, the encyclopedia, novels, textbooks. Just be reading and reading so that all these new words, when they come up, they're not new per se, but if they're going to use specific words, you at least know how to use it in context. You also need to learn more variations about words. In the event that they're going to use one word and then there are a variety of words you're supposed to pick from, you need to know similar words and same meaning words. That way you can use a variety of words to explain or answer the question that's been asked of you. Focus on the word indicators. You don't have to answer the questions almost immediately. Process it in your brain first and think what is being asked before you answer the question. Just don't lose attention trying to figure it out in your brain and losing track of what is being spoken of whilst you're listening. In the exam, you have your own set of headphones, so you can clearly hear. You have an opportunity to test them before the exam starts, so don't worry about that. When you do practice exams, you have an opportunity to test out your weakest parts and your weakest links, so that's an opportunity for you to practice on them more than other parts. In my case, writing was my weakest point, so I took up the opportunity to utilize my practice exams to focus more on my writing. As I moved closer to the exam dates, that's when I focused also on other aspects like the listening, reading, and the oral exam. The exam is going to be marked by a human examiner. We're going to have 40 points, right? So if you get one thing wrong, it's a subtraction of 1 point. So you need to aim for 37 out of 40 in order for you to pass the exam. You need to predict the answer before you listen. It kind of helps you to identify the type of information that is going to be expected of you once you have targeted listening. Identify double meanings or parallel meanings within statement. You need to be prepared to make a connection between what the speaker is saying and what the question is asking. Check your grammar very carefully because you could lose marks for a right answer that is spelled wrongly. You also need to practice different skills at the same time. As in, you need to write, listen, and read at the same time. I cannot emphasize this enough. You need to improve your spelling. Spellings could cost you a good grade. So that's basically what you need to do for your listening exam. It's not rocket science. It's not anything complicated. You just need to pay attention to what is being said, look at the question beforehand, and you're good to go. Pay attention to what is being said. You can find on YouTube examples. You can also find on the Cambridge website, IELTS website, you can find examples, exams. There's an application also that you can use to get more practice. There's a lot of information that is widely given. There are also IELTS books which have a CD inside which you could use in order for you to practice for your listening exam. It is not difficult. Do not let anyone make you think that it is rocket science. It's not that hard. You can do it. It's just a matter of paying attention and not losing focus. Otherwise, you are good to go. So yeah guys, these are my tips and hacks as to how you can get an 8.5 on your IELTS examination. I hope it was helpful. If you have any other tips or questions, let me know in the comment sections down below and we can have a fruitful discussion about it. Alright, so I will see you in my next upload. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Stay blessed. Mwah.